How's it going, everybody? Too spooky here. When it comes to popular manga, it's no secret that Shonen Jump is the most popular name in the manga industry. And it's also no secret that Shonen Jump will continue to hold that title for the foreseeable future, with its vast amount of timeless manga series and a recognizable cast of amazing characters to accompany them. That being said, with all these amazing series and amazing characters under a single brand, it only makes sense that somewhere down the line somebody thought of the brilliant idea to take all of these different characters and throw them into a crossover.
Can you believe this? The two of us in the same house? Is this a crossover episode?
At the point of making this video, it should be no surprise to any of you that Jump has orchestrated multiple crossovers in both manga and anime form. But that's not what we're going to be talking about today. Instead, we're going to be looking at the history of Shonen Jump crossover video games, with the latest crossover game Jump Force coming out in only a few weeks from the upload date of this video. I thought it would be a fun idea to look at all the previous Jump crossover games that came before it. So without further ado, let's rewind all the way back to the late 1980s. The very first Jump crossover game would be released on February 15th of 1988, in celebration of Weekly Shonen Jump's 20th anniversary, which on that note last year in 2018, Jump was celebrating their 50th anniversary, so they're obviously still going strong to this very day. But back in 1988, the very first Jump crossover game would be released under the title Famicom Jump Hero Retsuden, or basically Hero's History in English. However, this game would never see an English release like many of the other crossovers we're going to talk about. These days, Jump crossovers are primarily fighting games, as you might be aware. However, you might be surprised to find out that Famicom Jump began the train of Jump crossovers as an RPG, or role-playing game. The game begins with a young boy reading a Weekly Shonen Jump magazine, and then out of nowhere the absolute mad lad gets sucked into the magazine. You know, basic everyday stuff. The boy is then transported to this crossover universe where he wanders around fighting random people with his massive fist, on a quest to recruit various Jump heroes so that they can fight a bunch of Jump villains that you encounter throughout the game. On that note, it might be disappointing to see that you're playing as the boy instead of the various Jump heroes. However, as you encounter and recruit various Jump characters, you get to play as them as well. The only thing that still kinda sucks is that basically every character you get can only use a possible projectile attack or that
big thick fist.
Once again.
Welcome, punch!
So the variety of gameplay isn't very vast for a somewhat turn-based RPG like this one. However, it's also 1988, so I think we can cut it some slack. As far as the various manga series that were featured in this game, there were 33 in total, featuring both completed series and series that were ongoing at the time of making the game. I'll put the list of these various series on the screen right now if you want to take a look. But in terms of actual playable Jump heroes, there were 16 who were recruitable. Those 16 characters were as follows: Son Goku from Dragon Ball, KENSHIRO from Fist of the North Star, Joseph Joestar from JOJO'S Bizarre Adventure, KINNIKUMAN from KINNIKUMAN, Orele Norimaki from Dr. Slump, Pegasus SEIYA from Saint Seiya, Ryo Seiba from City Hunter, Kyuichi Uno from Astro Kyuden, Nukesaku Eida from Suedi ni Tanchikan, Taru Yamashita from Keritsu, Umisora Koko, Yakubuin Yashita Taro-kun, Momotaro Tsurugi from Sakigake, Otoko Guku, Reiki Kikoku from Godsider, Isamu from Koya no Shonen Isamu, Tsubasa OOZORA from Captain Tsubasa, Joji Kano from Doberman Deka, and Mankichi Togawa from Otoko Ippiki Gaki Daisho. I know for a fact I butchered most of those names, but I'm pretty well known for my awful pronunciation at this point, so please cut your boy some slack. A lot of us looking at these titles today probably don't even recognize a third of them. But at the time of Famicom Jump's release, the state of Shonen Jump was a very different place. But as time progressed and more series were added to the magazine, the amount of Shonen Jump crossovers would only increase. So moving on to the next Jump crossover game, it would be released 3 years later in February of 1991. The second crossover game would also be a direct sequel to the first game, rightfully called Famicom Jump 2, Saikyo no Shichinen. roughly translated to the strongest 7. While at its core the game is pretty similar to the first one, especially in terms of core gameplay being another RPG, the game is actually a bit different. This time around, that boy character is removed completely, and at the start of the game you get to choose one of the 7 available fighters. Son Goku from Dragon Ball once again, Maida Tyson from Roku Danashi Blues, JOTARO KUJO from JOJO'S Bizarre Adventure, Ryotsu Kankichi from Kochira Katsushika Ku, Kameri Konmei Hashitsuho, Momotaro Tsurugi from Sakigake Otoko Juko, Taruruto from Magical Taruruto, and Tachan from Jungle King Tarchan. So right off the bat, we only have 4 out of the 16 previous titles returning from the first game, and this time around you begin as one of those 7 fighters and then travel through the various worlds of those series. But similar to the first game, you are able to recruit the other fighters along the way to help you, with a maximum of 3 at a time. The turn-based fighting is also vastly improved upon from the first game into an actual turn-based system. But even with its improvements, it is still sort of a lackluster sequel compared to its predecessor in terms of overall content and the series that are featured. 2.5 years later, on September 10th of 1993, we would get the next Jump crossover called Cult Jump, but this time on the Game Boy instead of the Famicom. While this title does have RPG elements like the previous 2 games, this time around the game itself is more like a quiz game, where you answer many different levels of questions to beat the game, centering around various Shonen Jump lore. The characters featured in the game is also basically a direct reskin of Famicom Jump 2, except instead of all 7 fighters you only get 6, as Tachan from Jungle King Tarchan is not present this time around. And unfortunately, after this game, the Shonen Jump crossover games would disappear for the foreseeable future. That is, until almost 12 years later, on August 8th of 2005, when we would get the next crossover called Jump Superstars for Nintendo DS. This would also mark the start of these crossovers entering the fighting game genre. However, when it comes to what type of fighting game, Jump Superstars in particular definitely gives off a Smash Bros vibe in terms of gameplay, and so would the next few games to follow it. But due to the fact that Smash Bros was essentially a worldwide phenomenon around this point in time, it's no surprise that Shonen Jump would want to try and jump on that hype as well. While just a Smash Bros clone at its core, Jump Superstars also has a few interesting features, mainly these manga panel-esque battle choices that you can select to craft a unique playstyle. Basically, there's 20 different squares available, and your goal is to fill those 20 squares with support, help, and battle panels requiring at least one of each. Basically, you have the largest panels, which are called battle panels. These panels range from 7 to 4 squares, and make up the various playable characters in the game. Because you have 20 spaces, you are allowed to use multiple playable characters in one 20-square deck, but they obviously take up a lot of space. Then you have the support panels, which are 2 to 3 squares large. While the support panels are not playable characters, most of them will have a character show up on screen momentarily to assist you, in terms of providing a powerful attack, blocking attacks, or even restoring your health. Finally, we have the help panels, which only take up 1 square each. The characters featured on these panels will not appear on the screen at all, and instead they will only help you by providing things such as a temporary boost. Honestly though, just hearing how that whole entire system works really makes me want to try it. But unfortunately, like the previous games, it was never released outside of Japan. As far as the character roster goes, it's actually quite vast as well, having over 30 playable characters in total. However, since there's so many different characters to choose from, especially if you count the support and help panel characters as well, I'll just be going over each of these series that were featured in Jump Superstars instead. Going by alphabetical order, we have Black Cat, Bleach, Bobobobobobobo, Buso Renki, Death Note, D. Greyman, Dragon Ball, Dr. Slump, iShield 21, Gintama, Hunter x Hunter, Hikaru no Go, JOJO'S Bizarre Adventure, Kochira Katsushi Kaku, Kamari Koenmei Hashitsuho, Mr. Full Swing, Naruto, One Piece, Pewtufuku Jaguar, Reborn, Rurouni Kenshin, Shaman King, Slam Dunk, Steel Ball Run, Strawberry 100%, The Prince of Tennis, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and finally Yu Yu Hakusho. So this game had quite a lot to offer in terms of character and series variety. We also know that Jump Superstars sold quite well upon its initial release, as it sold over 220,000 copies within its first week of release, and 446,000 by the end of 2005. The success of this game would also lead to a direct sequel, but there is one more Jump crossover that came before it. That crossover being none other than Battle Stadium D.O.N, which the D.O.N stands for Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto. This game came out on July 20th of 2006 for the PlayStation 2 and GameCube. However, once again, it was only released in Japan. Now I know I called Jump Superstars a Smash Bros clone, which it definitely is, but it also had plenty of unique aspects to set it aside. But when it comes to Battle Stadium D.O.N, it is literally a Smash Bros ripoff in every possible way. Like, the similarities are disgustingly close. Because this game in particular only features Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Naruto, the characters that are playable for each are as follows. Dragon Ball has Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, Trunks, Cell, Frieza, and Buu. One Piece has Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Usopp, and Chopper. And then finally, Naruto has Naruto, of course, Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, Gaara, and Rock Lee. Honestly though, my biggest gripe about this game would be the fact that Bleach was absolutely killing it back in 2006. I don't think anybody can deny that. Yet for some reason, they didn't think to include it here. Maybe Don Buh just didn't sound right or something. But for those of us who are Bleach fans today, it's no secret that Bleach gets shafted by Jump left and right. But it looks like that shafting started all the way back in 2006 with this game. My man Ichigo can just never catch a break. Other than that though, there isn't really much else to say about this title in particular, as it really doesn't even have much replay value. So let's move on to the next crossover title, which is the sequel to Jump Superstars called Jump Ultimate Stars, which came out on November 23rd of 2006 for the Nintendo DS once again. Due to the fact it's a direct sequel from Jump Superstars, the gameplay is essentially the same except for a few updated mechanics and additions. One of these, for instance, would be the addition of an even bigger battle manga panel, which can be 7 or 8 squares. However, their actual purpose is to provide various power-ups, such as Bankai Ichigo instead of regular Ichigo, or Gear Second Luffy instead of regular Luffy. Although because everything else is relatively similar to Jump Superstars in terms of gameplay, I won't be going over that stuff again, but just know that it is vastly improved. However, because this game is a sequel aiming to improve everything from the first, we also have more series and more playable characters. This time having a whopping 56 playable characters and even more support and help characters, all coming from a total of 41 different series, 24 of which are returning from Jump Superstars, but with the addition of 17 new ones. The series that were featured in Jump Ultimate Stars are as follows in alphabetical order once again. Black Cat, Bleach, Bobobobobobobo, Buso Renkin, Captain Tsubasa, Cobra, D. Greyman, Death Note, Dr. Slump, Dragon Ball, Eyeshield 21, Fist of the North Star, Gintama, Hoshin Engi, Hunter x Hunter, I_S, Jigoku Sensei Nube, JOJO'S Bizarre Adventure, Jungle King Tarchan, Reborn, Kinnikuman, Kochira Katsushika Ku, Kamari Kome, Hashutsuho, Majin Tante Nogami Nuro, Midori no Maki Bao, Mio and Roji's Bureau of Supernatural Investigation, Naruto, Ninku, One Piece, Pew to Fuko Jaguar, Roku Danashi Blues, Rurouni Kenshin, Saint Seiya, Sakigake Otoko Juku, Shaman King, Slam Dunk, Strawberry 100%, Taizo Mote King Saga, The Prince of Tennis, Totimo Lucky Man, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and finally Yu Yu Hakusho. While this game would be quite successful over in Japan, the sales were never released to the public, or at least if they were, I couldn't find any information about it. However, even with its success, there wouldn't be another Jump crossover until March 19th of 2014. Where we were given the crossover most of us are probably familiar with, J-Stars, which was created to celebrate Jump's 45th anniversary. Unlike the other crossover games, this was the very first to be released outside of Japan, which is why most of us are probably at least aware of its existence even if we've never played it. The game was released on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Vita. As far as the gameplay for this one goes, it's fairly unique in terms of how it looks, because it is a 3D fighter allowing you to move in every direction, but it's also somewhat linear like a 2D fighter, at least when you lock onto your opponent. If there's an exact term for this type of fighter, I don't personally know what it is, but it looks kinda like what Jump Force is going to be following in terms of playstyle. That being said, when it comes to the actual mechanics, the characters present in J-Stars are grouped as either playable or support characters, each with their own unique playstyle in terms of range, damage, effects, etc. However, support characters in particular are mainly just there to provide extra attacks and such, and aren't really playable themselves. The game also had its own story mode, but I think most of us can agree it was rather lackluster. In terms of sales, the game did pretty well, but to some rather mixed reviews from critics. As far as the series and characters present, there are 52 characters present from 32 different series. 39 of these characters playable, while 13 are purely support. Because there are so many characters once again, I'll just be going over the various series that are present in alphabetical order. We've got Assassination Classroom, Beelzebub, Bleach, Bobobobobobobo, Chinyuki, D. Greyman, Dr. Slump, Dragon Ball, Fist of the North Star, Gintama, Haikyuu, Hell Teacher Nube, Hunter x Hunter, JOJO'S Bizarre Adventure, Kochira Katsuhika Ku, Komeri Konmei Hashutsuho, Kuroko's Basketball, Madoka Box, Naruto, Nuro Supernatural Detective, Nisekoi, One Piece, Pew to Fuku Jaguar, Reborn, Rurouni Kenshin, Saint Seiya, Sakigake Otoko Juku, Skeet Dance, The Disastrous Life of Saiki K, To Love Ru, Totimo, Lucky Man, Toriko, and finally, Yu Yu Hakusho. So with an all-star cast, some decent mechanics, and now an audience within the West, J-Stars was without a doubt the final stepping stone of trial and error for what's to come, meaning it would be only a short wait until our final and most recent crossover, Jump Force, which will be released on February 15th in 2019 to celebrate Jump's 50th anniversary, even though 2019 is now the 51st anniversary, but whatever. Due to the fact that the game isn't released as of yet, some details like the complete roster are not yet known, but as far as playstyle, it will be somewhat similar to J-Stars as a 3D fighter, but in teams of 3 versus 3 at a very quick pace. We also know that there will be a story mode, likely featuring an avatar that you create, along with featuring non-playable characters like Light Yagami and Ryuk from Death Note, for instance. All things considered though, I think the majority of us are pretty pumped for Jump Force, as it looks like things are finally being done right. Except for maybe the art style, that one is still a bit questionable. I'm sure most of us are familiar with the characters who've been revealed thus far and are keeping up to date with that roster as more and more characters are being announced, so I won't be going over all of them individually, but the series that have been revealed thus far are Black Clover, Bleach, Boruto, City Hunter, Dragon Ball, Dragon Quest, Fist of the North Star, Hunter x Hunter, JOJO'S Bizarre Adventure, My Hero Academia, Naruto, One Piece, Rurouni Kenshin, Saint Seiya, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and finally, Yu Yu Hakusho. However, this is also not confirmed to be the final roster series-wise, so there could be more series revealed after the release of this video. Regardless though, it looks like Jump Force is going to be the true Shonen Jump crossover game that we've all been waiting for. Hopefully, it doesn't end up letting us down. Anyways guys, that is a look back at the history of Shonen Jump crossover games, and boy, have we come a long way. If you guys enjoyed the video, well, be sure to drop a like and maybe let me know what you thought of this one, because I've never really made a video quite like this before. I just thought it would be a really fun idea to look back at the previous games and what they were like, as some of them were made before even I was born. So although I had a lot of fun with this video myself, I sincerely hope that you guys did as well. While you're at it, be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one, and be sure to comment any ideas that you might have for another video like this one, or any ways you think I could could improve this particular format if I did another video like it. There was also 2 games that I decided to leave out, which is the mobile game Shonen Jump Ore Collection, which came out in 2017, and another mobile game that came out in 2018 called Jump Stadium. But we know that mobile games aren't really true video games. Just kidding. But either way, I didn't really think that those games were worth talking about other than this little quick mention right here. So just know that I didn't forget about them. Drop a follow on Twitter at 2SpookyTube to keep up with the channel, and drop a follow on Twitch at 2Spookster, as I will definitely be streaming some Jump Force when that game finally comes out, so you don't want to miss it. Either way though, thanks for checking out this video today, lads. If you'd like to check out some more of my content, well, be sure to click here for 101 facts about Soul Calibur if you're looking for more fighting game content, or click here for 10 facts about Sanji from One Piece. Thanks again, and I will see you soon with a new video.